real cases before a real judge.
Plaintiff Mary Lopez is a teacher at a school for children with behavioral problems, and the defendant is one of her students. Mary claims she sees a lot of potential in the defendant, but she's suing him today for vandalizing her car in the school parking lot. Defendants Catherine Stewart and her grandson Desmond Fisher say Desmond had a rough start because his mom was a drug addict with mental issues. Desmond admits that he has anger issues, and Catherine believes Desmond should take responsibility for his actions.
Tell me what's going on.
I'm a teacher at a school for students with behavior issues, and Desmond has been my student for 2 years. And a big part of the reason I'm here is obviously for the car, but also because I believe Desmond has a lot of potential. And I believe that for him to start being successful in life, he's going to need to start assuming some responsibilities for his actions.
Did he have behavioral problems at a previous school and got in trouble, and so they sent him to a school which is able to address that?
Right. We're considered a public separate facility, and students who have some, issues that maybe they can't handle in a regular public school, they take them to our school, and then we are able to work with them more, smaller groups.
Aside from the incident I guess you're suing about, what type of student has he been?
He's been a good student. I mean, at times, he's had some behavior problems, but I've tried to work with him.
Makes sense.
Yeah, obviously. But,
going to a school for people with behavior problems.
Yeah, no, but he's been good, and I think we've had a pretty positive relationship. How do you feel, Desmond? Do you think we've had a pretty good relationship?
I do.
Plaintiff Mary Lopez is a teacher at a school for children with behavioral problems, and she's suing one of her students for vandalizing her car in the school parking lot.
Ma'am, do you want to give me any background on your take on this before we get into the specifics of the car damages she's suing about?
Yeah, first off, I'd like to say that I don't make excuses for Desmond. Desmond has had severe problems, and that, he had a rough start. His mother is a drug addict, and she has mental issues.
What type of mental issues?
She's been diagnosed with multiple personalities, and then she does drugs and stuff.
Okay.
So. And then she turned him back into custody because his, problems got bad. So they've sent him to Pomegranate and Buckeye Ranch. Pomegranate, that's a facility for like young people who do drugs, but they said he had no drugs in his system. So then they sent him to Buckeye Boys Ranch.
Who was sending him? The
Children's Services.
State court?
Children's Services was.
Why?
Because
how had he gotten in trouble with them?
My daughter relinquished custody.
Gotcha.
So that's why Children's Services had him. So they thought that they could better, because I was there all the time trying to see what's going on with him, and they thought they could better help him if he stayed with them. And he's been in and out of foster homes, in and out of foster homes.
Okay, and he was diagnosed with some type of behavioral problem, obviously.
That is true, but they've never really said.
I know one of them was attention deficit.
Well, he does have that, yeah.
So.
Is he medicated?
He won't take his medicine.
Oh, well, that's the problem. Okay. Yeah, no, if you ADHD and you're not taking medicine, yeah, you're going to do all that, and you're going to end up in prison. Pick your poison. And how long did you raise him, ma'am?
I've had him, let's see, I think she relinquished about when he was 13, 14.
Since that time.
I've had him since then, and been going to counseling and stuff like that.
But see, if you have a chemical imbalance, which ADHD is, you can't counsel that out of somebody.
That is true.
That's you have counseling in conjunction with medication, and I'm glad to hear that you're not adverse to it. Many people, unfortunately, they're trying to turn him into a zombie. And that's why a lot of young people don't want to be on medication, because ignorant folks, they put these stigmas. Oh, so-and-so, he take medicine, he crazy. No, he crazy if he don't take his medicine. You go to church, man?
Yes, sir.
Good, all right. Go to my website or send them, but this is tough. I have a church-based mentorship program on AskJudgeMathis.com, where we give information to churches and pastors on how to mentor the young people in their congregation. What you want to tell me about yourself?
I know I have anger issues. I know I can control them. I just got to think twice before I do stuff. Always just think about my actions.
You've been diagnosed with ADHD?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they specialize in that school, dealing with young people who have behavioral problems. Some of them are environmental and social, and some are chemical, meaning chemical imbalance in your system. But the good news is many people with chemical imbalances are highly, highly successful. So I would hope that you would want to become part of that, because there are also many, many, many who are in prison because they don't address it as they need to. So if you've been diagnosed with ADHD, that requires medicine. Yeah, so either you can listen to these fools and ignorant people on the street and say, he taking medicine, he crazy, or you can go to prison.
Plaintiff Mary Lopez is a teacher at a school for children with behavioral problems, and she's suing one of her students for vandalizing her car in the school parking lot.
What are you doing to address your anger issues?
Well, I just single myself out from everybody, at least try to stay out of trouble. Every time I try, trouble finds me.
You're saying isolate yourself as in being antisocial? That isn't a good way to do it. We want you to have friends. We want you to be able to relate to people. No, that's not a good way to handle your situation. A friend of mine, Ron Artest, who he and several others, a lot of their agents and managers come and say, well, Judge, can you talk with him? Ron and I would do a little hanging out and make my observations and try and talk with him, and ultimately it was determined that he needed a little more help, and they couldn't counsel his problem away. And he's an NBA superstar. He's not afraid to tell people what he deals with. If you're able to overcome such health and behavioral challenges to become successful, you should be honored. People talking about me always referring to my youth, and I get around these uppity types and then they go to whispering about me. I say, I'm way ahead of y'all. Y'all got privileged backgrounds, you got everything. I was a street thug with no daddy, and I done passed all y'all up. And I'm proud of that. So instead of putting my head around there, they went to Harvard and I went to da-da-da. Better than all y'all. That's what you do. All right? You work to overcome this major obstacle, and as you are overcoming it, you feel good about yourself and you feel proud. And don't be afraid to talk about it. See, I got some issues. I got ADHD, and I'm dealing with it. So that's how you should look at your situation. Don't be ashamed. Don't allow anybody to attach a stigma to your treatment. Whatever treatment it is that you need, follow it. And she's suing today for car damages. What was that?
Well, what happened was in February 2012, Desmond left the school building. They call it a Code 13 at our school, and he was AWOL, and he went out to smoke. And we have a lockdown facility.
AWOL?
It's called AWOL. It's when they leave the building, it's called
AWOL, lockdown. You all don't know whether you're the prison or the army.
I'm telling you. I know.
AWOL is when you're in the army. Lockdown is when you're in prison.
I know.
So which one? Y'all got both. Go ahead.
Really?
So he was on AWOL, so y'all called lockdown, and then what?
Because the building is, it's locked from the outside.
And what happened?
So anyway, he was trying to get back in the building, and usually when students want to come back in, they have a staff go out and process to make sure, for safety reasons, that they're not bringing, something back in with them. And I guess Desmond got upset and got a rock and then just started vandalizing numerous staff vehicles with a rock, scratching up vehicles and damaging. And I have a witness statement here. It was a Patrick.
Yes, see it, please.
Yes, sir.
Plaintiff Mary Lopez is a teacher at a school for children with behavioral problems, and she's suing one of her students for vandalizing her car in the school parking lot.
What do you have to say, young man? You damaged the car?
I did. It was wrong.
And I just want to say, Your Honor, that even though he did that, I want you to know that we still have a really positive relationship, that, we've put that aside, and I'm his teacher, and I still feel like...
Seems like a decent kid.
He is a decent kid, and he has a lot of potential.
Challenges that he has to cope with. So that's what we need you to do, is take a good look at your treatment and your therapy and follow what the therapist or doctor tells you to do, not what some old-fashioned type, uneducated person who knows nothing about the field tries to tell you. If you're showing progress and you're succeeding, then be proud of what you're dealing with and the fact that you're overcoming it. That's just like the guy in the Olympics who had prosthetics.
Oh, the runner.
Yeah, the runner. Some ignorant people might have said, but the overwhelming 99% of the world said, wow. So you're not going to be the best at everything, but people are going to look at you and say, wow, Desmond has dealt with ABC all of his life. I hear he has a little behavioral problem, but look at him now. That's what you want. And you can get that, but you have to follow the treatment. I'm not going to hold your grandmother responsible for your deeds. I'm going to hold you responsible for them. And so I'm going to grant you a judgment, ma'am, for $463 against him, not against her. Sounds like she's doing the best she can. We pray that you'll be able to live your life in your golden years in a way that you're not stressed out or troubled with his actions. Doesn't that make a difference to you too? Don't you want your grandmother to live a comfortable and stress-free life?
Yes, sir.
All right, well then show her a sign. Show her you want to live that by your behavior, all right? And doing whatever you got to do to overcome it. All right? Good luck to you. Judgment for the plaintiff.
Just that I want you to be successful. And you're a senior, and I know you can do it. And do me a favor, this was all meant for a reason, and I want you to take Judge Mathis's advice and follow through with it. I give you a hug? Okay.
Thank you. It's just my help.
Give you a hug too.
All right.